someone else.
How the heck am I going to tell someone how to do this when I don't even know what the SOP is for myself?
People aren't doing what I tell them to do. And I'm like, okay, so how are you telling them what to do? I'm like, just send one message in a Slack channel of what to do rather than like a whole SOP and system, because the relationship with the father wasn't there. You're giving positive or negative feedback. I definitely have a sneeze coming.
Negative
I'm
feedback.
like, wait, so positive versus negative feedback. Your positive feedback generally needs to outweigh your negative feedback.
Okay.
Because let's say you say a negative thing. It's really interesting how this works. So, at least to me.
Sandwich?
So, you have your negative feedback, right? But this outweighs the positive feedback. So we need to give at least 3 positive feedbacks for every negative piece of feedback that we give. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Luke. I help entrepreneurs stop self-sabotaging and make 100K a month. This is Emily. Emily, what do you do?
I help relationship coaches scale.
Okay, dope. And yeah, whether you're new here or whether you're just returning back, welcome.
Welcome. We are so happy to have you here.
We're going to come in here and crush it. Me and Emily have been in a few big business programs together. And
that's how we met.
It's literally how we met.
That's how we met. And I remember, when was the first time we met in person, though?
Church.
Yeah.
Church.
I think I invited you to New Tribe.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was in Bali and I was like, yo, we got to finally meet.
Yeah.
And you were like, come to church. And that was actually my first time coming to church.
Yeah.
Since being an adult.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What I want to touch on really deeply today is you have so much knowledge around self-sabotage. Where do you see entrepreneurs self-sabotage in their business most?
The most. It's all going to be dependent on where you're at in your business.
Okay, so depending on...
If we go down through the rules of FIRE is my framework for self-sabotage, for root causes. It's kind of interesting because if you don't fix these things, then you're going to have lots of fires. But also, if you do fix it, it's like, yeah, we're going to fire that self-sabotage out the way. So F stands for false identity. So there's this psychological principle called self-discrepancy theory. And self-discrepancy theory is the difference between your current state of being and your future self and who you want to be. So imagine it like this. You're currently where you are right now. This is where you want to be. If that gap feels bridgeable, like you actually feel like you can do it, then self-belief is high, self-trust is high, action taking's high, and you'll go do the thing. Like if I was like, Emily, in my vision of myself, can I have some salt for my water? Well, your salt's right there, so it's a pretty bridgeable gap. It's there.
One weird fact about me is I carry salt with me to just keep me going throughout the day.
But on the flip side, if that gap is wide and you don't know the bridgeable gap towards there, you can spiral, you lose self-trust with yourself, you lose confidence in yourself, negative thoughts start spiraling. And we see this a lot when people speak, which is where I'm looking for self-sabotage. Is like, oh, I'm not the type of person who does 50K a month. I'm not the type of person who does 100K a month. Or, you know, I see this all the time in entrepreneurship circles. And you say, oh, yeah, like, I don't feel like I'm ready to scale just yet. I've got to do this first. But it's actually an identity gap, less so than a business gap. Because it's those stepping stones. So we need the bridgeable piece. So that's F for fire.
How I see that on a spiritual level is that, like, where does it say in Proverbs that the words that you speak is, your tongue is life and death? And as a man thinketh, so he is. And so it's like what you speak and what you believe, you become.
Yes.
Yeah,
it goes back to an old principle. My first ever mentor was a mindset mentor. And he used to say, every word you speak is a manifestation of your reality.
Yes.
So you get to be very mindful. You can choose to be very mindful. Even I'm saying, I have to, I need to, I should. Those are all things that ideally you would choose to eliminate from your dictionary because they invoke pressure. And depending on it, if you're if that pressure is handled well and you're well regulated, it might spur inspiration, but 9 times out of 10 it won't. And it's going to put you into a scarcity mindset, and then you'll make scarcity decisions, and then you'll get scarcity feelings, and then you'll have scarcity actions happen in your business.
That's so good. And I see that when I'm creating content, or when I'm even just going throughout my day to day, I get to choose to be my most wealthiest self.
Right.
So in my daily actions, like, what am I choosing to be my most wealthiest self? And maybe that's, okay, this studio. Deciding that I am, what would Emily's most wealthiest self do?
Right.
She wouldn't like film in her bathroom. She would get the studio.
Yeah, 100%.
So do that. Do that action.
Yeah.
And it'll just start bleeding into other actions as well.
Yeah.
So that's F. What's
I?
What is I?
I is invisible rules. So these are your patterns, your stories you grew up with, your limiting beliefs. Everybody's familiar with limiting beliefs, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. But it's the cognitive dissonance that you have between when you want to do something and when you don't, and what moves you forward towards it, or what you don't, what doesn't move you forwards towards it. There's a lot of different cognitive dissonance principles, but we've factored them into a few different categories. The first one would be all or nothing, or black and white thinking. So either this launch is working, or it's not. This podcast is working, or it's not. My business is either successful, or right now it's failing.
Yep.
And how I've seen this happen in coaches, which will bring me into the second type of main categorization, which is generalizing. They might say like, oh, all the leads are bad right now, or like, oh, none of my content's working.
My sales.
Yeah, my sales sucks.
My sales
Is
suck.
it every sale?
Yeah.
No. But because your brain wants to be efficient with your language, it doesn't want to think, well, it's not every sale. It doesn't want to think that. Your brain just wants to be efficient.
Right.
It doesn't want to consume as much energy. So then you speak a reality that's not true.
Oh.
And then you cause
that reality.
To become true. So that's generalizing, which oftentimes matches up with catastrophizing. So catastrophizing, you can look at it as the worst case scenario. So if somebody doesn't close a recent sale, which also couples in with something called recency bias. Recency bias is when you have the most recent event is what you attribute as reality. So you might have just had, last month, you might have done 50K in sales. And then you start the month off,
I'm laughing because this is so
and you have
accurate.
and then you start the month off, and you have, I don't know, 5 to 8 calls, and you don't get a close.
Wow, yeah.
And then you start
feels
thinking,
nice.
oh my gosh, is it going to be one of those months? Oh, it started badly. I don't know. Or you see people say, oh, it's just been one of those days, or it's just been one of those weeks. I'm like, you just framed your entire week based off of like one small event because of recency bias. So that's where the invisible rules pops up. That's a few key categories. Should statements is another one, like saying I should be doing this, I should be outreaching, I should be hiring a mentor, I should be delegating things, or I shouldn't be the one editing this. That's a should statement, and should comes under the, if we look at the different variety of emotions that we have. Everybody wants enlightenment, wants peace, wants love, wants joy.
Yeah.
Those godlike emotions, right? But on the flip side, we've got survival emotions, which is everything from pride and ego, which is an interesting balance because pride and ego is so close to courage. It's so close to moving you out of those emotions, but it's so close. Yeah. And then below pride and ego, we have anger, we have sadness, we have fear, we have apathy, which is like victim mindset, and then we have shame and guilt. Apathy is like, oh, what's the point in this? Oh, why am I even doing this? They're actually the right questions if you answer them intentionally, but when people are asking them, usually not. So a lot of cognitive dissonance brings people into shame and guilt because oftentimes we've grown up and certain events have happened and we've got this shame and guilt, and we've already got this current state of who we believe that we're meant to be. And this beingness is the self-sabotaging patterns that are within us. It's the cognitive wiring per se, which is the beliefs you hold and the identity that you hold. So that's invisible rules. R is resistance to change, resistance to expansion, you could also call it.
Yeah.
I like to just put this as simply as like, you might have made a commitment to do a certain level of amount of things in a day, and you've got one thing left on the day, and your brain's like, oh, we can leave it to tomorrow. Oh, I don't need to do this now. Like, it's okay. But that's the resistance to change. It's the resistance to being in integrity with who you said that you were going to be.
Yes.
And then these small little micro commitments. If you look at trust, like a thermometer, high self-trust is micro wins. It's why we encourage students to celebrate a lot. So if you're a student in the community, go and celebrate your wins, not for us, for you, because you are building your self-trust.
Yes.
And with more self-trust, you have more self-belief, you take more action.
This
On the
is
flip
so
side
good.
of things,
this is like breaking down what I just like subconsciously do for the students, but now hearing it, I'm like, wow, there's like reason behind
so
why we
much
do this.
reasons.
And I love how you're breaking it down so simply for other people.
Yes, and then the
great.
flip side of the thermometer, if we're looking at the bottom, we've got low self-trust, low self-confidence, which is micro quits. And particularly with us, when we deal with a lot of people higher up on the spectrum of ADHD, it's why we track task completion rate with what I do, because task completion rate is directly reflectant to how much self-trust somebody has within themselves.
Wow.
And if you don't trust yourself, you won't make those big quantum leap steps.
Yeah.
Or it will take you longer to do them.
Yeah.
It's the difference between getting something done today versus 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now. And then, of course, you're behind, and then you lose self-trust again. So the low self-trust is micro quits, being out of integrity with the things that you said that you were going to do. So that's resistance to change.
Can we go deep on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me. Where do you want to dive into?
I want to hear from you what that looks like when someone is more so on like the higher level. Let's say they're wanting to scale their business to 100K a month. Where does that show up? Like in childhood?
In childhood, we see it particularly with people that lack male role models in their life. So they lack direction, leadership, strong masculine qualities. So I had to reparent myself growing up because I had a very destructive, alcohol-fueled parenthood. And so I didn't know how to lead myself. I just knew my default was emotional explosion. And I'm sure some of you will have parents that have a very short fuse, very explosive fuse. And so actually what happens when you're resisting change is subconsciously you're expecting some kind of massive repercussion from you doing something. Because as a child, maybe anytime that you did something new, you were shunned for it, or you weren't validated as much as you felt like you needed to, or as much as you wanted. And so in childhood, the male role model is huge, to the point where like we put some ad hooks out that were like, business owners with daddy issues, this is for you.
Wow. Yeah.
Because we knew that clarity, structure, certainty, direction, the masculine energy, if you will. Yeah, that's the childhood pattern. But then how it shows up in the business can sometimes be not building systems and keeping everything in their head, because they have growing up when you lack these structures of routine maybe, or systemizing your actions. You learn to think on the go. So many people who are at 50 to 100K a month are phenomenal action takers. They're able to do stuff, but they still keep it in their head, and putting stuff into a way where they can trust somebody else to do it. It just doesn't comprehend in their mind that somebody would even be able to go and do it. because they've never systemized themselves, let alone systemizing
Like, how
someone
the heck
else.
am I going to tell someone how to do this when I don't even know what the SOP is for myself?
Yeah, and then if they do bring somebody else on, we see this a lot, and this was a real harsh reality for one of our higher level clients. And she's an ex-Olympian as well, and she was like, my sales team are crappy, they're not doing it, people aren't doing what I tell them to do. And I'm like, okay, so how are you telling them what to do? I'm like, just send one message in a Slack channel of what to do, rather than like a whole SOP and system, because the relationship with the father wasn't there.
Wow, yep.
So
It shows up like that. When I was younger, I had my dad was present, praise God. I feel like I had a strong male character in my life. He was an alcoholic, but nothing crazy. And my mom was like the most amazing at holding space for me to cry. I remember her holding me in her arms a lot when I was a little girl and just letting me feel. And although that was amazing, there was no structure or routine in my life because they were divorced. They were always working. And so I remember when I was in 6th grade in middle school, I started creating routines. 5 a.m., wake up, Pilates. My whole day was mapped out each hour. It was insane. But that's because I craved like routines. And I'm curious, for those people who are more so on that spectrum, what is the self-sabotage that shows up for them?
The self-sabotage who already have routines.
Yeah.
What I've seen here, I remember one distinct example. You know Justin Starrett? You know Justin Starrett from Jeremy and Brandon's program?
No.
Anyway,
Maybe.
he was doing like 25K a month and had been stuck there for 8 months
Wow.
before he came on board with us. And this looked like struggling to make decisions without the validation of someone else there. So there's a little bit of that resistance to expansion, like we said earlier, rather than being able to make a decision today, get the feedback, go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need to find out more information, or I need to go and figure this out. And then for like 3-4 weeks
Yeah.
until he was able to come to decisions on, say, changing his funnel from a follower growth funnel to a webinar funnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was more scalable for him, for his particular set of coaching and consulting. I would be interested to hear what you feel your self-sabotaging patterns are, and then I can give you some insight as to where I feel they might come from for you. So what do you feel right now is your biggest self-sabotaging pattern?
I would say being... Man, that's a really great question. But I'm not sure. Like, I need examples of what that could look like. I think that if I were to process out loud what my self-sabotaging patterns are, would be I need someone there, or sometimes I don't ask questions immediately to my coaches, and instead I'll like ponder on it and try to make a answer myself before reaching out for help. When things are about to get really good, sometimes I will like go back to how it was before because I'm afraid of that expansion. What's another one? There have been times where I've made a ton of money and then I spent it, but I think I've healed that. But that's definitely come up before.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So the first thing that I felt was when you said that going away and trying to ponder it and figure it out by yourself, definitely an entrepreneur characteristic. Sometimes this can come from where you weren't able to safely go to certain role models in your in your environment growing up. So you might not have been able to necessarily safely go to your dad. And so there's like a little bit of insecurity of like, if I make this decision, what's the repercussions? It's that worst case scenario. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens?
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's fear.
Yeah.
So in your brain, you have your prefrontal cortex, where we make decisions here. But then as sensory information comes through to your prefrontal cortex, it then bounces part of that information to your frontal lobe of where you're making decisions. It bounces part of the information to your amygdala. Your amygdala then cross-coordinates with all the trauma that's happened in your body.
Yeah.
And then it'll bounce it back to the brain, and then your brain will decide, okay, do I make this decision from the front of my brain where I'm more smart, or do I make it from the amygdala?
Wow.
So if you've had more trauma happen in your life,
Yeah.
Or certain trauma was more influential on you, you may then start just operating from amygdala. So then you need to essentially regulate yourself until you're able to come to a point to make a decision from the front part of your brain.
From the prefrontal cortex.
And you see this sometimes in prospects where they're going out to get more information.
Yeah.
They're going out to get more research, understand the offer, understand their expectations, understand what they need to do, understand your results.
Yeah.
But they're trying to bring themselves out of the amygdala into the prefrontal cortex.
That's incredible.
Yeah. You're trying to get enough
love
information
that.
for you to over-logic yourself, because what's interesting about changing these beliefs is very often about stacking evidence against why that thing is false.
Right.
So, for example,
Literally.
growing up, I believed I was a loser. I always felt like I was second place. And a lot of that reality showed up in sport. I would always come second place in the races.
Wow.
And I would always come second place in positions. And when I went for county trials and national trials for different sports, always second place, would never did it. This came from a betrayal wound from my brother being born, because my parents were always working before I was born, so I never really saw them. I spent all my time with my grandparents.
Wow.
And then when my brother was born, my parents stopped working as much and got to spend time with him. So I was like, oh, my brother's being born, cool, but I made that believe at the time, I'm a loser, I don't deserve enough love. And so then that pattern just got reinforced with all this evidence.
Yes.
So it's on the flip side, when you're selling your business, when people are uncertain, they're just looking for evidence. They're just looking for evidence
to out-logic their fear.
To out-logic the fear.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because last night, I had a sales call, and the girl went into it, and she had that fear. She was like thinking about the decisions that she had made a month prior. And we have a 30-day program where people can come in for 30 days. And during that 30 days, she hadn't made progress. And so it was either we make a decision forward and we change now, or you go back to what you have been doing.
Right.
So you now see it's not the system, it's not the process, it's you. And so it's hard to confront those feelings with people,
Really
for them
hard.
to realize that a lot of it, we can give them the information, but what they really need is someone to hold their hand through the system.
They need to move into courage.
And so I sent her a video of a client interview, and she came into that call with so much courage, because that client interview gave her enough logic,
enough evidence
to
bypass her original fears
yes,
of all the things from the past.
yeah,
Yep. It's crazy, right? And then the last piece of this is excessive control, which is like micromanaging, trying to micromanage your experience, micromanage the people around you.
yes,
We see this a lot in from a relationship standpoint, with the whole masculine feminine argument.
yeah,
But we see this with a lot of women who are hyper in their masculine, trying to control what their partner does and control the experience. It all comes from fear.
yeah,
Unhealthy masculine energy, if I'm being more specific.
wounded masculine.
Wounded masculine energy. Healthy is fine. Healthy is fine. We don't mind that.
No.
Like, women in business, go do your thing. Just do it from a healthy standpoint.
I feel like since coming to Christ, I've been able to relax more into my feminine. Just so interesting that sitting with Jesus and getting to know my Heavenly Father and knowing that He cares for me, and Matthew 5:6, do not worry about what you'll eat or what you'll drink. Like, I don't have to control because my Father is doing it all, and I can just be still. And that realization, knowing I don't have to manifest or like make it all up on my own, and He can write that perfect story, has helped heal my heart a lot.
I agree. I think the growth that I've had since coming to God has brought me significantly different as a person.
Yeah.
Like, even before getting into the relationship I'm in now, like, we prayed together at every meal before we were making decisions for each other's day, like, on all levels. And then I remember all my relationships before, so I never did any of that.
Wow.
And now I'm in a more grounded leadership, taking responsibility. Any fear and anxiety I have, I give it to God.
Yes.
I don't try and mind read and do it myself.
No.
Because that's what I did in the past, and that's not going to work.
But in how that shows up in business when someone has the wounded masculine is that the control will come up. Whether that's, you know, in the sales team, like with that one client that you brought on who was the Olympian.
Yep.
Maybe she had some of that as well.
Yeah, excessive control, for sure. Definitely. It's interesting. It's like micromanaging without having the systems that would effectively have done your management for you anyway. Yeah, we saw that in her.
How I picture that is, because I've gone through this, is I'm just sitting at my laptop and I'm just like, that's the gif, or that's the reaction when you're having a conversation with your team and you don't have the SOP in place, but
and
you
they're
need to
making the same
communicate
mistake.
it, and they just keep making the same mistake.
Yep.
And it's not, you don't want to just, what's the word? Push them. Or how does Layla Hermosi describe it, where it's not about when you have someone on your team forcing them or trying to manipulate or convince.
I'm not entirely sure, but I can talk to it from a different frame.
Yeah.
So when you're giving positive or negative feedback, I definitely have a sneeze coming.
Negative feedback.
I'm like, wait, so positive versus negative feedback. Your positive feedback generally needs to outweigh your negative feedback.
Okay.
Because let's say you say a negative thing. It's really interesting how this works. So, at least to me.
Sandwich?
So, you have your negative feedback, right? But this outweighs the positive feedback. So we need to give at least 3 positive feedbacks for every negative piece of feedback that we give.
Yeah.
So let's say, super simple, because a lot of you might resonate, a lot of you may have editors. If an editor makes a mistake, and they keep making the mistake, if we keep shaming them without coaching, then they'll just get worse as an editor, because they'll lose self-confidence, self-trust. You're essentially telling them they're not good at their job, which then screws with their identity, which then screws with their beliefs, their capabilities, skill set, behavior. But when somebody then improves that said behavior, you need to be so fast about recognizing them for it. So like Pavlov's theory of training a dog. It's basically like you have a dog, and then you're training it to do a trick, and then you give it a treat. Like, oh, well done, Alfred, for sitting down. Here's a biscuit.
Alfred.
Yeah. And that's why eventually you say sit, dog sits. But it's the same for humans. In the sense of when you do a good behavior, there needs to be a reward. When your editor then does a good thing, it's like, well done, editor. Do that. Keep going again.
Keep going.
Keep
Encouraging them.
The same as a kid when they learn to walk. Because the negative feedback of making a mistake already gives somebody negative feedback. They already feel that. They don't then need a boss breathing down their neck saying, you did this, you did that. Especially not that.
Yeah.
That was my second business partnership, and that was very intense. Where it was like you do something wrong, and then you have the CEO be like, you're shit. Why do you do this? You're sabotaging the business, and that conflict destroys teams.
Communication is so vital. Over the past year, since having this partnership, I've had to learn how to communicate, and it's felt like I've been I've been going through a marriage course.
You had to grow up real fast.
Like, when there is conflict and I'm communicating that, it's not, you suck, what the heck is going on, why is this, like, that is language that we might opt to use because it's, like you said, it's easiest for our brains to do.
Yeah, it's easy.
But what language will land for that person and allow them to take responsibility and then move forward in a new action? This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm noticing. And this is what I need from you. Even just saying that, it's more grounded. The other person on the side of the screen, even though it might not be well received, they'll still be able to interpret it. I feel better.
Yeah. Or this is the situation, this is the behavior I observed, this is the wider impact it could have on the company or our relationship or me.
The company. It's not about me and you, it's about the company. And always just returning back to, like, this is for the company. Separating your identity from the company. And viewing the company as something that you're working on together as a team. It's not you're in two separate boats, you're in one boat rowing together. Right.
Yeah. And then it's maybe even like a coaching question of, like, can you see this, or can you see my perspective, or can you see how we could have done things differently?
Yeah.
Or could we do things differently? Or what are 3 different options we can take next time?
Coaching is sales too.
Coaching is sales.
Communication is sales.
Yeah, coaching is
Can
leadership.
I offer you a new perspective?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. So I'd love to know for you, Emily, when you've noticed yourself self-sabotage, what's something that you come back to that really helps you grow? Like, is it you come back to God and you anchor yourself in God? Is it you close your eyes? Is it you breathe? Is it you go for a walk? I'm curious what that is for you.
All of the above. All of the above. I really enjoy going outside, going to the water, bringing my journal, bringing my Bible. And I also have affirmations that I come back to, but I would say the number one is Jesus. I will just sit at his feet and I'll say, God, what do you think about this? Show me what you think about this. Getting his input and knowing that his thoughts are higher than my thoughts, his ways are higher than my ways. If I have access to the creator of the universe to tell me what he thinks about this, why would I not go and talk to him? So that is where I source my peace and comfort.
That's powerful. Let's go. All right, let's swap this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Swap this thing up.
All right, let's swap it up. That was the ending of number 1. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to check out Luke's Instagram, his YouTube channel. It'll be in the description below. And yeah, let us know what you're taking away as well in the comments. And we love you guys so much.
Yeah, and go share this with somebody that you know and love, because I'm sure this could help them understand themselves. So go and share this with somebody you know and love, because we appreciate you and we want to go and help more people.
Yeah.
So
spread the love.
Spread the love, y'all.